I think the Bengals defense is really good, and there's a lot of misunderstanding about this whole 7 straight games to begin a year without allowing a second-half touchdown, which, as you know, the Bengals have not allowed a second-half touchdown in any of their 7 games this year. Now, some say it goes back 30 years. There are others that are saying it goes back 40, 50 years. And I'm sure that's probably being broken down into, was it 7 games to start a season, as opposed to when's the last time it happened where it was just 7 games in a row at any point in the season. Nonetheless, it's an incredible number. It's an incredible stat and an incredible testimony to that defense. They're playing a lot of close games. They're not giving up the touchdowns in the second half. But for this defense, in my opinion, to have a chance to go from very good to great, they are one really good pass rusher away from being a great defense.
Agreed.
And the guy that allegedly is on the trade block right now, he's not had a great year so far in terms of sacks, but he played great on Monday night. He's had a great career, is Robert Quinn. I'd go get that guy from the Chicago Bears right now. And the Bengals have cap space. They can do all those kinds of things. They have a young team. You know, you look at their team, there's some spots they're going to have to start filling in the next couple of years with draft picks, but I think they always do a good job by and large. Not perfect, but do a good job in draft picks. I would go get Robert Quinn right now. Bring him in on third down. You got Hubbard, you got Hendrickson, and you got Quinn going after the quarterback.
Is Robert Quinn what is his contract situation?
You know what? I don't care what his contract situation is, because the Bengals notoriously, even though they've spent money in recent years, they are always well under the cap. Football, unlike baseball, is not a guaranteed contract league, where if he comes here, if he is on a long-term deal, and you don't want to pick up the option on the contract for next year, you can do it. You'll take a salary hit, cap hit, but it's not going to be anything earth-shattering. But, I mean, you got to admit, Hubbard's played really well. We talked about that the last couple of days. He's played great, better than pretty well. He's played great. Hendrickson has played great. But it seems like they still don't get to the quarterback enough for me.
Yeah.
Paul, Casey, any thoughts on that? You like the idea, Quinn? Am I crazy? You don't like it? What?
Yeah, so this was from Jordan Schultz yesterday, that he said he tweeted this: continue to hear that Bears defensive end Robert Quinn is a trade candidate from several teams. Biggest hurdle right now is Quinn's $18.2 million cap hit for 2023, and so that's what they're looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that's a big number.
That's a big number.
That's a big number.
Bengals
So, you know, maybe I should have probably looked at that for sure on what that would be. I don't know if that changes at all when you move to another team. I don't know how that works, because a lot of that is built into the signing bonus that you have. How much do you get on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and we got to get somebody to really explain one day on the show about the whole salary cap thing and how that works, because, you know.
It's a question everyone always has, no matter what. Even if it's explained in other shows, like, it's always a question that needs to be answered.
Let's get a legal analyst on here, Tom.
Yeah. Let's get, like, the Bengals legal analyst on here. Do we know anyone? Who's?
No, you know, I had never met Duke Tobin until I ran into him at a social event this summer. And he was in a completely relaxed state. Training camp had not started yet. I was able to sit around, have a beer with him, shoot the breeze for like an hour. Met him through a friend of a friend, and what a really pleasant guy, and is one of the most underrated, I think. If there is such a thing as a general manager for a team that doesn't have the title general manager, he's it.
Yeah.
Guy's done a hell of a job.
Yeah.
Hell of a job.
Yeah.
And it's not only in your draft picks, and every team's going to have their hits and misses in draft picks, but it's relying on your scouts and your coaches when you're going out to acquire players from other teams. So Wouzier, right? They bring him in from Dallas, right? They bring in Hilton from the Steelers. They bring in Von Bell. They bring in all these guys, Hendrickson. You know, and you can say, well, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that, you know, Hendrickson might be a pretty safe bet. Bottom line is he had never been to a Pro Bowl until he got here, and now he's a Pro Bowler. Von Bell's had a great career before he got here, and he's I think the heart and soul of that defense, along with Reeder, as far as a toughness and a tone setting kind of a player. But look, you got to evaluate guys, and that's part of his job, and he's been really good.
Yeah. I just wanted to also mention that pass rush conversation.
Yes.
DJ Reeder being out for the last couple games, I think, has affected that. Before he was the highest graded defensive player before that in the NFL, and he was just getting after it. I mean, he was winning. I think it says here like 20% of his true pass rush rates, or I'm sorry, he was winning 42. My bad. He was winning 20% of the time without it being a true pass set, and then 42% of the time when it was a true pass set. And to kind of explain what that means is when it's a true passing down, when there's no play action, that they're just hiking the ball
in shotgun.
Right. And he was winning 42% of the time. I don't know if anyone can really fathom that number or to put it in perspective, but Hendrickson only wins 25% of the time in true pass set numbers. So he's almost doubling the amount of time winning. And I get it. It's kind of a small sample size, but I think DJ Reeder really was playing on fire this season. He was balling out. When he comes back, that pass rush is going to look a lot different. And with Jay Tufele kind of stepping up, I'm telling you, you get multiple good interior guys in there, and it alleviates some of the pressure that's on Hendrickson and Sam to make a play. The worst pressure is up the middle in the NFL. So,
well, I mean, you saw a team last year in the Rams, and you mentioned the guy who some feel is the greatest of all time as far as interior lineman is concerned, in Aaron Donald. I mean, he was the reason why there was so much pressure created in the middle of the offensive line in that Super Bowl last year, and he's been doing it his entire career. You got to have those guys. Geno Atkins did it for so long here with the Bengals. What a great player he was. We never talk about him anymore. But a great player for a long, long time. But you still got to have those guys that can run down a quarterback.
Yeah. It's going to be tough sledding on Monday without Reeder.
Yeah, it will be.
We'll see.
In the rush game.
I'm really thinking I might be putting too much faith in a guy that was cut from a team. But I mean,
you're putting a lot of faith in this guy, Casey. I got to tell you.
I
mean a lot.
I love the positive vibes, Casey.
I just
fire me up.
Mr. Positive. He's Mr. Homer.
Fire me up, Casey. Fire me up.
He's played well the last 2 weeks. He was one of the top PFF graded defenders